Hello. Thanks again for taking a few minutes today to spend with us. We truly are better together. Today I want to talk to you about healing. Have you or anyone you know been healed? God has given mankind incredible wisdom and understanding, and many are using those gifts to help bring healing to people. But sometimes we need a healing that goes beyond what we as humans can provide. When my oldest daughter, Cambry, was about 6 or 7, she got pretty sick. After a couple trips to the doctor and a couple different medicines, she wasn't getting better. At her next visit, her pediatrician noticed that several of her lymph nodes were swollen. He told us not to worry, it could be tuberculosis, but a younger man in our church had just died of lymphoma, so it was hard not to imagine the worst. They did some imaging and asked us to quarantine her until they got the results back. So we turned our dining room into Cambry's playroom/bedroom, then waited to hear back from her doctor. Those days were terrible. We waited and prayed. When the results came in, we found out that the tuberculosis test was negative, but they had found several spots in her lungs. That Sunday, we had Cambry anointed at the altar, praying for a miracle. And on Monday, we went back to the doctor to get more images so they could find out the extent of the problem. When they were finished, the doctor came in and told us what they had found. Nothing. That's right, nothing. He said, "I don't know if you believe in miracles or not, but what has happened to your daughter is a miracle." He went on to tell us that he, as well as other staff, had the earlier images of her lungs, and there was definitely things there. But when they scanned her again, it was gone. I'm not sure if he was a believer or not, but he had no other explanation than a miracle. We praised God and still do to this day, and we remind ourselves of God's miraculous intervention in our daughter's life. But we're painfully reminded as we journey through this life that the miracles don't always come. Many broken things never get fixed. And when the miracle doesn't come, it can be devastating. Our human reaction is often doubt, anger, frustration, and fear, and these things can destroy our relationships with each other and with God. But that doesn't have to be our response. Maybe you're thinking, easy for you to say, you got your miracle. Yes, in that instance we did, but we have also endured many terrible tragedies and hardships where a miracle wasn't given. And when the miracle doesn't come, we can choose a different path. Paul reminds us in 2 Corinthians 4 that we are jars of clay, and at times we will be hard pressed on every side, but not crushed. We will be perplexed, but don't have to be thrown into despair. We will be persecuted, but we will never be abandoned. And we may be struck down, but we won't be completely destroyed. You see, as followers of Christ, we are not just living for this temporal world. We are citizens of an eternal kingdom. And through that lens, the lens of eternity, things look quite a bit different. What we see as endings here are just beginnings there. Trials that seem all-consuming here are barely a blip on the radar there. From this perspective, Paul shows us that by letting go of the things behind us and straining towards what is ahead, we can press on toward the goal to win the prize for which God has called us heavenward. But not all problems we face are short-term problems, are they? Some struggles have been going on for much longer than our lifetime. Things like hate and greed, envy, lust, pride, and mistrust have plagued mankind since Adam and Eve ate the fateful apple. There's no single miracle short of Christ's return that can fix this, so what do? We press on. We fight the urge to react with doubt, anger, frustration, and fear, and we press on. We press into the God who created us, the God who was walking with us, even through the valley of the shadow of death. We can choose to trust instead of doubt, love instead of hate, help instead of hurt. And when we do, maybe we can play a part in the healing. Maybe we can be the miracle that someone else is praying for. We can be God's hands and feet to those who are struggling most. Will you join me? Join me in praying for those that are hurting. Join me in praying for miracles to things that seem impossible. Join me in the ever difficult challenge to trust, to love, to help, and to heal wherever we can. Join me in pressing on toward eternity, trusting God. He created us and He loves us, and He can empower us to be light in the darkness, hope to the hopeless, and healing to the broken.